Today we have the Mazda 3. This is the Grand Touring model. Typically compact cars get the idea of being a boring commuter car. Not this one. We have a premium interior, it looks good, and yes, it is fun to drive. We're gonna go for a test drive and check everything out. Let's get started. Hey y'all, thank you so much for tuning in for this Mazda 3 Grand Touring review. This is a sedan, the 4-door option. You can't get a hatchback. So starting out up front, I really like Mazda's design language that they have on all their cars. This front end is pretty aggressive, but still elegant at the same time. On lower trims, you do have halogen lights, but we do have the full LED high beam and low beam, as well as the LED fog lights just below the blinker there. These headlights do an amazing job. They're adaptive, so they will swivel. They're auto leveling. They do an awesome job at night. Have no problems with it at all. You can even see the headlight swivel a little bit on top of that. Standard for all 2018 Mazda 3s is the Smart City brake support. That is standard and new for 2018. Before, it was not standard on all models. This is the Soul Red Metallic. This is a premium paint. This Soul Red is one of the most beautiful reds that I've seen, especially on a car of this price. It is really impressive. It really shines. This camera is not doing it justice. Lower trim Mazdas will come with 16-inch wheels, but we have the 18-inch wheels. You'll also have 205-width tires on those 16s, but we have 215-width tires. Brakes in the front are ventilated disc brakes and solid rear disc brakes in the back. So we do have turning signals on the mirror. Always a nice feature. Plus we have blind spot indicators in the mirror as well. Those mirrors are not auto dimming though. I'll show you the Mazda keyless entry system here in a little bit. One thing about this car is that we do have G vectoring. It's actually a software system. I'll explain that a little bit, but it basically enhances your handling. So another thing standard here for the Touring and the GT is this spoiler, this lip on the back. We also have combination LED taillights. That is only on the Grand Touring model. We do not have parking sensors back here, but you can get those as an accessory. Let's take a look at the trunk. There's a few ways to open the trunk of the Mazda 3. Inside the car with the key fob or with the little button right there, as long as you have the key fob with you. So this unveils 12.4 cubic feet. As you can see, I have a couple of items in there. This is a rather small trunk compared to some in the segment. For example, the Civic is quite larger, but it is also a little bit bigger. There is a pocket over here on the side. Not too much of one over here because the jack is actually behind that plastic piece. The seats do fold down with pull tabs on each side for a 60-40 split. The spare tire is underneath this flap right here. And if you do need more space, the hatch will give you 20.2 cubic feet or 47.1 if you fold the seats down. Hop inside the Mazda 3 and you'll find these seats are way more comfortable than you might expect for a compact car. They're very soft, they're supportive, they have good bolstering on the sides. They're actually probably a little narrow for some people, but I like the aggressive bolstering that you have. It makes this car just a little more fun to drive. On the sport base model, you'll start with cloth seats that are manual adjustable 6-way. You'll get up to the Touring model and you'll get leatherette seats that are power adjustable 6-way with manual lumbar support. And then once you get up to the Grand Touring trim, what we have here, we have the leather, we have heated seats. Heated seats are also on the Touring model and the same 6-way power manual lumbar support, which is actually kind of in a weird spot back here. The steering wheel does have a good range of motion for tilt and telescoping motions, as you can see right there. Both up and down and in and out, and the lever is right down there. I'm 5'9". My knees don't hit and bump up on anything here. I do have the seat fairly low and it's tracked and a decent ways back, but I can fit a fist above my head. Even though we do have the sunroof right here, I still have plenty of headspace. So overall, plenty spacious for me. When you go to get inside your Mazda 3, you will be greeted with a very nice upscale, premium feeling interior, ranging from the nice soft seats. There's soft touch materials on the armrests. The steering wheel is leather wrapped. The shifter has leather wrapped around that as well. The dash itself is even soft touch in some places with its 7-inch screen right there up on the top. Very nice place to be in general. Let's take a hands-on look. The Mazda 3 doors give us soft touch materials up top as well as down below. This does have some padding to it. We have one automatic window right there, a good sized bottle holder. You know, I have a large bottle, a cubby down here that's actually somewhat deep, and you can see our Bose 9-speaker system right there. It's got a decently solid door slam. This is a fairly solid feeling car when you drive. Nice leather wrapped steering wheel. This leather does come on the Touring and the Grand Touring. We have steering wheel controls on both sides with radio and voice controls, plus our radar cruise control over there. As long as we have the key inside, put your foot on the brake, you'll see that start up, or see that turn green. Push the button, and then our active driving display, which is only on the GT, will show up right there. I really like this display. It's full color, so you'll see red traffic signs because it does have traffic sign recognition. It'll show you your speed. It even shows you blind spot information, your cruise control information. Very handy to have. It is adjustable with our Mazda Connect system, and I'll discuss how we use that here in a second. You'll notice that our steering wheel does have the paddle shifters up here. Those are part of our premium package. Let's take a look at this display. This is very simple, as you can see. Nothing that really confuses you or gets in the way. The one complaint I have is the trip computer is pretty much just for one trip on here. You can see more on your screen, but I really like that. Easy to use, easy to see. Another thing with our premium package is that we have automatic wipers. So you can control these like normal, but if you have it on auto, then it'll go depending on the rain. So rain sensing wipers can definitely come in handy. Plus we have automatic high beams with our switch over there, and that can all be controlled with the Mazda Connect system. As you look at this dash and the interior of this Mazda 3, you'll definitely not feel like you're in a compact car, especially a Mazda. When I think of older Mazdas, I definitely do not associate that with this, but Mazda has really stepped their game up. As you can see here, let me show you this center stack. So this is a sliding piece. We can move this out of the way. My water bottle does fit in there, but when I do have it there, it's a little bit awkward to get to these controls right here for our Mazda Connect system, especially when you do have a passenger over there. It's a little bit like bumping elbows. But that's really my only complaint with this. I do like having this knob. This knob controls our Mazda Connect 7-inch system right there, and it takes a little bit to get used to, but once you get used to it, it's pretty nice. We do not have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but you can see more fuel economy. You can see your traffic on here. We can see our music and do controls through that. Communication, you can connect your phone obviously with that. The navigation seems to work fine. You can use your finger to adjust and move on here as well. Aside from what you saw there, there's a lot that you can control. You can control your heads-up display. You can control this display right here, and I was pretty surprised by how much you can actually do. Even your safety settings, we have the smart braking system and smart city braking system, and our blind spot monitor with rear cross traffic alert, plus our lane keeping system, the traffic recognition on our display up above, and then your sound with this Bose stereo. This is a 9-speaker system. A 6-speaker will come standard on the base model, but you can option up for the Bose on the Touring and up. And once you get over to the vehicle setting, you can control your rain sensing wipers, your lighting, your locks, all that stuff, add your devices, and then overall system settings here. Definitely really like this system. I have grown to appreciate it. Just like I said, my only complaint is when you have a bottle in here, it's a little bit tricky to use. And this is actually our volume knob right here. As you can see, we do have shortcuts so that you can just hit music or hit navigation if you want. We have an electronic parking brake. There's no handbrake here. You can flick this forward for sport mode, and it will show up there in the instrument cluster. Just pull it back if you want to get out of it. I do like this shifter. Got the little pull lever in the front. When we put it in reverse, we do have a backup camera. It does not have movable lines, but it works alongside with our blind spot and our rear cross traffic alert. And I really like the rear cross traffic alert. It has already helped me once. You can get parking sonars optional, but only as accessories. When you go into drive, you can move it into the manual mode so that you can shift with your shifter if you don't want to use your paddle shifters. Right in front of the shifter, you'll find 2 USB ports, an SD card slot, and an auxiliary port. This is softly lined and textured to hold something in place. My large phone fits right there, but not very well. I usually just keep my keys or my wallet there. Right up above that, we have dual zone climate control. This is a very easy to use system. I've pretty much kept it on auto the whole time, and it's done a really good job. This is standard on Touring and the Grand Touring, but on the Sport model down at the base level, you will get just traditional climate control. We have heated seats on both sides. Those are for Touring and Grand Touring trims. Plus, with our premium package, we do have a heated steering wheel. Now, another complaint with that is I really like having a heated steering wheel, but it's only from here to here on both sides. So up above and down below aren't heated, but not a huge deal. Typically you'll have just a traditional mirror, but we have the auto dimming mirror with the Homelink, which is part of our premium package. These visors, the whole visor does not slide, but you have a sliding piece on each one. Plus we have a vanity light and mirror. Now the moonroof is also available on this trim. It is standard with the Grand Touring and optional with the Touring. Our glove box is not lockable, but it is dampening, and it's got a decent amount of storage space inside. When we turn around and look for visibility, it's got a couple pretty big pillars there, but just about every car does nowadays. Overall, not too bad, especially with your backup camera and your rear cross traffic alert. The backseat of the Mazda 3 is a little bit crammed. It's probably more crammed than you might find in some other cars, but when I'm sitting here, my knees are not touching the seat at 5'9". This is where I would normally have it, and I can put my hands in front of my knees, but not a whole lot of space. I'll show you how much we have. When I sit up tall, I don't have a fist room above my head, but I can sit up tall and not be bumping my head, which is fantastic because this line on this car looks like it's fairly sloped, but it works back here. In the back, you get the same soft armrest and still a fairly large bottle holder. Let me show you how much space I have. So it's pretty snug right there. I do have enough space. It's not like I can't sit back here. There is some room for my feet underneath, so this is definitely doable. And at 5'9", that's where I would have the seat. I actually have it leaned back a little bit further than I typically would, so it's doable for someone my size. My head is not touching the ceiling either, but we do have a kind of a large hump in the middle, so anybody that's going to sit in the middle, first of all, it's not too wide, but it probably won't work for an adult. We do have a center folding armrest, and we have 2 cup holders. This is nice and soft. I have had some mid 5-foot people back here, and they fit just fine with no complaints. I had a 6'2" friend in the front seat, and he fit just fine as well, so it can accommodate your passengers. The powertrains for the Mazda are something that I really like about this car. So with the base Sport model, you will get the 2-liter Skyactiv engine. That is a 4-cylinder engine, naturally aspirated, that puts out 155 horsepower and 150 pound-feet of torque. With that engine and with the 6-speed automatic transmission, you'll get up to 27 miles per gallon in the city and 37 miles per gallon on the highway. But you can also go up to the 2.5-liter 4-cylinder that's naturally aspirated. You can get that on the Touring or the Grand Touring, and I really love that they'll give you 2 engine options in this compact car. That 2.5-liter 4-cylinder will give you 184 horsepower and 185 pound-feet of torque. Not too bad for a car of this size, and it definitely feels like that when you drive it. And those power numbers are actually available at lower RPMs than with the 2-liter 4-cylinder. Miles per gallon for this specific car, the automatic transmission with the 2.5-liter is 27 in the city and 36 on the highway. And the fantastic news is that you can get all these powertrains with a 6-speed manual or with the 6-speed automatic. You can get that on any trim, but the base Sport is with the 2-liter, and the Touring and the Grand Touring are with the 2.5-liter. Alright everyone, we are on the road in the Mazda 3, and this is by far my favorite part of this car. Driving matters, that's what Mazda says. It certainly does, and that is definitely evident in this car. Right away when you get behind the wheel, you'll feel the weight of the wheel. You just have much more of a connection with the road than you do with a lot of cars, especially other compact cars. When we come to a stop here, the braking feels great. It feels like it's really sharp actually. And one neat feature, like I said, we do have disc brakes. The front vents are ventilated, but with this 2.5-liter, the front brakes are actually a little bit bigger. So that's nice to see. Considering you have more power, it'd be nice to be able to have better stopping ability. Speaking of power, let's see what we got. Going about 40. I'm not in sport mode. I will put it in sport mode in a bit. It's pretty quick. You know, this this is a 6-speed automatic. It's very fluid. This thing responds quickly. It's a very quick shifting car. Once you put it in sport mode, which I'll show you, it'll hold its RPMs a little bit lower. It'll change the transmission a little bit to be in a lower gear, so you'll have your power right away. The torque comes out at about 3,200 RPMs, so if you can kind of keep it around there, you'll be able to zip around pretty quickly. So road noise has always kind of been a thing with Mazdas, and with this generation, starting last year, they actually put some more noise deadening material, and they say it's 3 decibels quieter when you're going 25 miles an hour in terms of road noise. And I really don't think it's too bad. It's definitely not great. It's not quiet per se, but it's not annoying. I can definitely live with it, and everything else that you get with this car makes it totally worth it. The handling in here is great. Like I was saying, I told you that it has G-vectoring. The G-vectoring adjusts the torque, and it's actually from the engine braking. It shifts the weight to basically give you the smoothest, most capable ride. You've just got an excellent feel of this steering wheel. And the shifting, oh man, the weight shifting on this car is just fantastic. I mean, you can hug these corners pretty well. Oh, this car's fun to drive. If you want a compact car that's fun to drive, then you got to get this. If you want something that's basically just a commuter car, you might be better off with a Civic or a Corolla, or, you know, maybe. But this thing still has a lot to offer. I have been getting 31 miles per gallon combined in my week with this car, and I put a couple hundred miles on it, so that's very impressive. In fact, I went on a bit of a road trip across the metro area to Dallas Cars and Coffee, and I got 36 miles per gallon, mostly highway, mixed in city. And I met another YouTuber there at Forest Auto Reviews. If you haven't seen his channel, please do. I'll put a link down below. He's got a lot of Mazda videos, and he does reviews every week. The ride comfort is pretty good as well. This feels like a very solid car. You know, you can go over some uneven pavement and you feel it. Obviously, it's not going to soak it up that great. This does have the bigger wheels, which can make a difference, but it's very compliant. Nothing really disrupts the cab too much, or disrupts this cabin too much. I have been able to use the radar cruise control as well as the lane keeping system, and I really like the lane keeping system. It's not obtrusive to where it will kind of bounce you. If you hit the line, it won't bounce you over to the other side. It actually just gently nudges you, and you can have it vibrate or you can have it beep. And it's nice that you can customize that. You can also turn it off. The radar cruise, this car is fun, guys. I will go around those turns in manual mode in just a little bit. As I was saying, the radar cruise control, it does work pretty well. It's not the kind of cruise control that you can use in stop and go traffic, and I probably wouldn't use it in close traffic, but if you're on a highway cruise and if it's not too congested, it is definitely worth it to help with driver fatigue, and it works pretty well. Okay, I'm gonna put it in sport mode. You just flick the dial forward, you'll see sport light up on the dash. Give it some gas. It's definitely pretty quick. You know, I'm not sure exactly how this competes with the Honda Civic Turbo, but it's quick enough and it's fun to drive. Now I've got it in manual mode. We are sitting in third gear, 3,000 RPMs, and it's got a pretty good bite to it. I do like how the gear selector, you pull back to upshift and push forward to downshift. It's more natural. Oh man, this thing will hug the corners. Okay, I'm gonna slow down a little bit. And even the paddle shifters or the gear selector, depending on what you use, they're quick. They are, I mean, quicker than you would expect in a compact car, that's for sure. Third gear puts us just over 3,000. The handling is by far my favorite part of this car. So all in all, what do y'all think of this car? Obviously, you can get a hatchback version if the trunk space is not big enough for you. And you can get the 2.5 liter on the Touring and the Grand Touring. I really like all the features that it has, like the full LED headlights, the heated seats, heated steering wheel, and we have the premium package, so we have some extras like the traffic sign recognition. It truly is a nice car. Compared to the Civic, the Corolla, the Elantra, the Focus, any of those, what do y'all think? I'd love to hear your feedback. Leave your thoughts down below. That's gonna wrap everything up. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. Leave your feedback down below. I want to know how I can get better, what you liked about the video, what you didn't like about the video. If you're new to my channel, I post videos every single week. Please subscribe down below to Prime Autotainment. Also, follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Prime Autotainment for previews of what vehicles I'm going to be driving, as well as some extras. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.